Violence definition. The interest in violence, its study and knowledge of its causes, motives and consequences for the individual and society is expanding due to the exacerbation of acts of violence, terrorism, conflicts and wars, and the suppression of totalitarian regimes and their arbitrary authoritarian methods, as well as state terrorism. The dangers of nuclear weapons, environmental pollution, desertification and drought. All of these things raise fear and lead to the breakdown of the social balance. Violence has become a general culture practiced in all fields of social life, especially in homes, public and private institutions, means of communication, etc. And it has started to produce tragedies and disasters that have severe material and moral effects on the individual and society without reaching his real, declared and silent motives, which are backwardness, poverty, tyranny, exploitation and oppression that are rampant. Indeed, the first step to standing up to violence in all its forms and types begins with our awareness of the danger of the culture of violence and the soil in which it grows, because violence represents the return of man to his first primitive state, as one of the basic characteristics that distinguish each civilization from others is the way in which it can organize behavior aggression, as an instinctive latent energy, and refining it by directing it in a rational and rational manner, as well as teaching its members how and when to curb their aggression. Violence against women. Violence against women is one of the most important issues that arise at the global and local levels, as it does not concern a specific community, culture or region. And it is a phenomenon that is likely to exacerbate in difficult and complex local and global conditions, as poverty, underdevelopment, terrorism, immigration, high costs of living, health and social care increase. Violence against women is defined as an act of violence directed against women in particular, driven by sexual nervousness, and leads to suffering, whether from a physical point of view such as physical abuse, sexual assault and rape, or from a moral point of view such as verbal, social, psychological and political violence, including the threat of it or the use of indirect methods such as rejection and the denial of civil rights, liberty, and equality in public or private life. Domestic violence is considered the most common type, as it includes beatings, corporal punishment, violence by the father, mother, husband or older brother, arbitrary deprivation of freedom, independence of the individual in thinking, not allowing women to leave the house out of the motive of preserving religion, morals and honor, and forced marriage with a cousin, daughter, uncle and others. Incitement to murder to preserve honor and dishonor, to the types of collective violence that include kidnapping, rape, sexual harassment, prostitution, and exploitation of working women in criminal acts and others. The authoritarian state and backward patriarchal laws contribute to the practice of violence against women, when they give priority to men in occupying the main positions in the state and power and depriving women of it. The situation is that violence is an expression of the imbalance between the sexes and an imbalance in the balance of power between men and women, that is, an expression of the authoritarianism, oppression and oppression practiced by men against women with the aim of subduing, subjugating and humiliating their will. This means a violation of women's rights as a human being, such as deprivation of education and work, coercion to marry or any violence that affects her by any means, as long as she is harmed because she is a woman, especially if it is indirect or hidden. And it is in most cases more cruel and painful, such as divulging the secret or defamation of reputation and other methods of silent social violence about him. 1 out of every 4 women is exposed to violence by men in the world, and statistics also indicate that poor countries are more vulnerable to violence than rich countries, especially those that are underdeveloped, which are silent about violence and deny its existence, and claim that there is no discrimination against women. or that claim that discrimination against women is a natural and legitimate thing because she is a human being deficient in reason and religion. To be monitored, held accountable and punished. In such societies and in these cases the use of violence is permitted but not allowed to be declared. Silence imposes a wall of isolation, and silent coercive violence, which is the cruelest type of violence that is silent. As a conclusion to this subject, violence in its forms and methods is one of the most dangerous negative social phenomena that pervade the world, East and West, and that arise from the absence of social awareness, rationality, freedom, justice and human rights, which are the basic principles of the rule of law and civil society, which is based on political pluralism, understanding, dialogue and recognition of the other. Thank you for watching the video. Do not forget to subscribe, like and share, so as to receive the new hot files.